Thank you for pressing play. Your presence here brings joy to my heart. Thank you for joining us today as we dive into Hydrophis belcheri. Hydrophis belcheri, commonly known as the faint-banded sea snake or Belcher's sea snake, is an extremely venomous species of elapid sea snake. It has a timid temperament and would normally have to be subjected to severe mistreatment before biting. Usually those bitten are fishermen handling nets, although only 1/4 of those bitten are envenomated since the snake rarely injects much of its venom. Although not much is known about the venom of this species, its toxicity in mice has been determined to be 0.24 when delivered intramuscularly. Belcher's sea snake, which many times is mistakenly called the hook-nosed sea snake Enhydrina schistosa, has been erroneously popularized as the most venomous snake in the world due to Ernst and Zug's published book Snakes in Question, the Smithsonian Answer Book from 1996. Associate Professor Bryan Grieg Fry, a prominent venom expert, has clarified the error. The hook-nosed myth was due to a fundamental error in a book called Snakes in Question. In there, all the toxicity testing results were lumped in together, regardless of the mode of testing, e.g. subcutaneous versus intramuscular versus intravenous versus intraperitoneal. As the mode can influence the relative number, venoms can only be compared within a mode. Otherwise, it's apples and rocks. Studies on mice. The Australian Venom Research Unit, August 25, 2007. Which snakes are the most venomous? University of Melbourne. Retrieved October 14. Venom Immunochemistry, Pharmacology and Emergency Response, the IPER Institute. Frequently asked questions. What is the most venomous snake? Many experts answer that it is the Inland Taipan of Australia, because its drop-by-drop concentration of venom has great potency when measured by its ability to kill rodents. University of Arizona. Retrieved October 14. Department of Wildlife Ecology and Conservation. Frequently asked questions about venomous snakes. A comparative study found that the snake venom that is most toxic to mice of the species tested is that of the Inland Taipan of Australia microlepidatus, found in Australia. University of Florida. Retrieved November 5. Journal of Herpetology Vol.17, 1983. Ecology of highly venomous snakes, the Australian genus Oxyuranus. The number of mouse doses per bite is much higher for Oxyuranus microlepidatus 218,000 mice than for any other snakes, including sea snakes, investigated to date. Broad, Sutherland and Coulter, 1979. Page 1. University of Sydney. Retrieved November 8. Lists. 9 of the world's deadliest snakes. The snake with the world's deadliest venom, Oxyuranus microlepidatus. Encyclopædia Britannica. Retrieved November 5. Nature Wildlife. Inland Taipan page. Australia's Inland Taipan is considered to be the most venomous snake in the world. BBC. Retrieved October 15. Cecily Beatson, November 29, 2011. Animal species Inland Taipan. The venom of the Inland Taipan is extremely potent and is rated as the most toxic of all snake venoms in tests on mice. Australian Museum. Retrieved October 14. Steve Irwin presentation. Australia Zoo tour with Steve Irwin emerged the #1 most venomous snake in the entire world, the fierce snake. Australia Zoo official YouTube channel. Retrieved October 14. Inland Taipan venom vs. sea snakes venom. Most notable Belcher's sea snake Eocli, Cecily, 2011. Interview with Associate Professor Bryan Fry, biochemist and molecular biologist. For MIFT, I worked on the Inland Taipan, which is the world's most venomous snake. Australian Academy of Science. Retrieved October 14. Kingsnacum September guest chatter September 16. With Doctor Bryan Grieg Fry, Deputy Director, Australian Venom Research Unit, University of Melbourne. Hugh, in retrospect to the charts, what do you personally feel is the hottest snake in regards to potency, defensiveness, means of injection, etc.? It is the Inland Taipan Oxyuranus microlepidatus. Not, as is popularist, any of the sea snakes. Connected by Petsacum. Retrieved October 14, A Garden of Eden Exotics May 2, 2012. Dr. Bryan Grieg Fry interview. The Inland Taipan of Australia microlepiditis is far and away the most toxic, much more so than even sea snakes. Neoxytics of Wigsbotcom retrieved October 14, 2013, and human cardiac cell culture shows that venom of the inland taipan, drop by drop, is the most toxic among all snakes, land or sea. The most venomous sea snake is actually Dubois sea snake Apis duboisi. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore description through a fresh lens, unlocking new perspectives. The Belcher's sea snake is of moderate size, ranging from 0.5 to 1 meter, about inches in adult length. Its thin body is usually chrome yellowish in color with dark greenish crossbands. The dorsal pattern does not extend onto the venter. The head is short and has bands of the same colors. Its mouth is very small but suitable for aquatic life. Its body, when viewed out of water, appears to have a faint yellow color. Its scales are different from most other snakes in that they overlap each other. Each dorsal scale has a central tubercle. The body is strongly laterally compressed posteriorly. The ventral scales are very narrow, only slightly wider than the dorsal scales. Our focus now turns to taxonomic history, an important aspect of our discussion. This species was first described and named by John Edward Gray in 1849. As we progress, let's zoom in on etymology and examine its role in shaping our overall narrative. Hydrophis comes from Greek, hydra = water plus ophis = serpent. The specific name, belcheri, commemorates the Nova Scotian Royal Navy captain, later Admiral Sir Edward Belcher KCB, RN 1799-1877, who collected the holotype. Let's now turn our attention to common names and examine its role within a larger context. H. belcheri is also referred to as Belcher's ocean snake. Belcher's sea snake has been mistakenly called the hook-nosed sea snake, which is actually Enhydrina schistosa, and in one instance was called the blue-banded sea snake, which is actually one common name for Hydrophis cyanocynctus. I hope you learned something new today. Let me know what you found most interesting in the comments below.